Hello. My name is Emma Holmes and I would like to welcome you here to today's YouTube video. And in today's YouTube video, I am talking about investing in yourself and in your business and how that can create a whole load of fear, what you need to think about and how to get beyond it. So let's dive in. Topic is all around investing, and when I talk about investing and investing in yourself and investing in your business, I'm talking in terms of time, effort, energy, attention. I'm talking about backing yourself as well as talking about financial investments. So there are lots of ways that you can invest in yourself and you can invest in your business. Now, lots of people are resistant to making any form of investment or specific forms of investment because they are frightened that what will happen is they won't do the work. They won't show up. They'll look foolish. They might get involved in something that is out of their depth, that they may well mess up, that they'll fail, that they'll not see it through. These are normal feelings because what we do is a lot of the time we take the evidence from what has happened to us, how we've shown up in the past, what's gone on for us, and we create our own filters that we have as our reality tinted glasses as to how we should show up in the world, as to what we should be doing in order to create this business, that we have this preconceived idea that because we didn't quite get it right before, or that we made an investment before and it didn't work, or even so far reaching as we messed up on a diet, so therefore we can't stick to anything, so therefore we're rubbish. We create these connections and therefore we make a huge amount of resistance around any kind of investment in self or in our business. So like I say, investment can be time, it can be effort, it can be energy, it can be attention, it can be money. These are the ways that we can invest on a day-to-day basis. If we look at a monetary investment, we might be looking at purchasing a book that would support us in our business journey or in our personal development journey to learn more, to be able to get more information. Or we might be looking at one-to-one coaching. So kind of two ends of the spectrum. We could get a book that would cost us under 15 quid. We could get a one-to-one coaching that would be significantly more expensive than that. Now, when we're looking at financial investments, lots of stories come up, and I, as a sort of complete disclosure here, I invested in my business and my development before I was able to pay myself. Why? Because I knew that that investment would absolutely pay dividends. It would literally pay dividends. It would be the investment that would fast track me. It would take me forward quicker. It would allow me to have a new layer of clarity. It would allow me to be able to really get my teeth into the stuff that was important in my business. It would allow me to be able to learn more, and therefore, you know, when we know more, we can do more, we can implement more. There is more that we can put out there into the world. There's more impact that we can make. And I was very clear on that at the very beginning of my business journey. But I know that for lots of people, there's a huge resistance about investing financially in their business until a point whereby they can afford to make that investment. Now, being able to afford to make that investment, that bar can move quite significantly. I am not sat here saying to you that you should invest in your business and get yourself into debt. That is absolutely not what I'm saying, because if you are getting yourself into a place of significant fear around finances, then it's really difficult to progress your business. If it is very, hard for you to create the ability to do that without it being so ridiculously scary that it's going to cripple you, then you need to look at some of the other alternative investments that I'm going to talk about. But if it's stretching but doable, you know, for me, it was very stretching. We were on an extremely tight budget. I made a decision based on our future rather than our present, and absolutely created investment from a financial perspective. And I've done that throughout the time I've been in business. Now, every investment that I have made has allowed me to progress. Not all of the investments have been the best investments ever that have necessarily delivered in the way that I expected them to, but all of them have been a return on investment. Now, I'll talk about, you know, previous experience and then investing in a second. So when you are looking at creating financial investment in your business, I would say that it's about prioritization. Now, people generally can afford the stuff that they want. Now, it's all about reprioritizing what you actually want in order to make that progress. And, you know, I'm not, like I said, I'm not coming down from the mountains. I was in that place where we were on an extremely tight budget as a family. I had stopped getting my maternity pay. We were looking at, you know, making sure that we could cover our bills, making sure that we could get food on the table. We were back against the wall at this point, but I absolutely knew that that investment would fast track my success and that it would allow me to move forwards much more quickly and much more with much more momentum than I would have done if I was on my own. And that investment was an investment, as I say, based on my future self rather than my present self at that time. I don't want you to think that you are being ever press ganged into making investments from a financial perspective. I absolutely, totally and utterly disagree with all of these scripts and these strategies and tactics to overcome any kind of objections that people have to paying. I'm very much of the opinion that, you know, you'll know what's right for you, and you should never be bullied or press ganged into making any financial investment in your business. And I actually deal with this for lots of my Rockstars on a regular basis. You know, we have to have conversations quite regularly about people who've gone on to discovery calls and have been guilted into creating the purchase. They've had, you know, that credit card number snapped out of their hands at the time of the discovery call, and that's icky and it's not right. Investment from a monetary perspective should always be done with you believing and knowing and trusting that you can trust yourself to make that investment and that you trust the person that you're making that investment with. Now, there's three elements to, you know, making an investment. It's got to be something that is right for you. So it's got to be the right person that you're going to work with, that you're going to invest in. It's got to be somebody that you absolutely connect with. It's got to be somebody that you can see that they are walking their talk, that they are doing the things that you would ultimately like to do with your business, and that they are a few steps ahead of you along the road. They have to be the right person for you. And you have to have an element of trust in them. So make sure that you're looking at feedback, you're looking at testimonials, you're looking at social proof. So that's not just them saying that they are absolutely ace and excellent, but other people also saying that their work has helped to support them, etc. And then you've got to trust yourself. Now that is the biggest one, is that self-trust. And particularly when you have evidence that you don't necessarily always make good decisions, or that you don't see things through, or that you don't do whatever it is, then it's harder to trust self than it is anything else. So sometimes you've just got to sit and you've got to look at it objectively. So kind of zoom out and have a look at the situation. And what advice would you give a friend? What advice, if a friend came to you who was feeling a little bit stuck, whose business wasn't quite working, who felt like they were flailing around a little bit, who lacked real focus and conviction with what they were doing, what would your advice be to them? What would your advice be to them if you looked at the particular thing that they were looking at investing in? What would your advice be to them to make that decision? Because that is a really interesting kind of test to run, because so often we're great at giving out the advice, we're not great at backing ourselves. Something that I've been talking about a lot recently is that I know that lots of my rock stars are the biggest cheerleaders going. They absolutely help and support one another to the hilt. You know, it's absolutely the most supportive community, in my opinion, that you can find out there on the internet. So if you want to be part of the Rockstar community, make sure that you come over and like the Facebook page. At Emma Holmes Rebels and Rockstars is the Facebook page. At Rebels and Rockstars is Instagram. So come and be part of the community. It's a super supportive environment. But they're really great at looking after one another. They're really great at cheerleading one another. The celebrations of success inside of my private members groups that go with my programs, incredible. You will not find better cheerleaders anywhere in the whole wide world. But they don't give themselves the same cheerleading. They don't give themselves the same backing. And my big rally cry recently has been back yourself. Back yourself in the same way as you back other people. Back yourself in the same way as you would back your child or a peer or an accountability buddy or somebody else that you know who runs a business. Back yourself in the same way that you back them. So when it comes to financial investments, you know, sometimes it is about taking that investment before you're ready. It's not about being bullied into investing, and it's not about getting into a place of fear through that investment. And I'm talking about desperation. I'm talking about the fact that actually you won't be able to move forwards, because that isn't a place to start from. If that is the place that you are in right now, then over on my freebies page on my website, you'll find a mini program called Revive Your Money Moxie, and that will help and support you. It's a 5-phase process that I've used with lots of businesses to make thousands and thousands of pounds to get you back off the wall quickly. So if you are in that place, go and get Revive Your Money Moxie, free program that you can get your teeth into and you can start to implement straight away. But you make the investment before you're ready. It's not about waiting until, because actually you could fast track to that point by making the investment now. It's about looking at what your future self would expect from you. And there's a little quote that I use, you know, if I don't do this, the only person that I'm letting down is my future self. And I haven't met her yet. So I don't want to set off on a footing of letdown. And that's something that I use. It's something that I use to kick my bum out the door to go exercising. It's something that I use, you know, generally in my day-to-day life to make sure that I do the stuff that sometimes is scary for me. So that's financial investment. The other investments are in relation to time, effort, energy and attention. So these are your logs, and I talk about this one quite a lot. The analogy comes from a one-to-one meeting that I had with one of my clients. And we had this one-to-one meeting on New Year's Day. Now I know that that sounds really weird, but this client is also a friend. She's been a client for a long period of time, and she lives close to an airport where I was dropping my parents off to go on holiday. So we had this meeting, and there was something going on in her world at that point that she didn't really want to keep in her world. It was something that was uncomfortable. It was something that was just didn't want it to be there. It just wasn't suiting her. It wasn't suiting what she wanted for her future. She was stuck in a situation. And we were sat in front of her log burner, and I said, you know what this is like? Is that every day we get so many logs. And the logs are our time, effort, energy and attention. We choose which fire to place our logs in. We have the choice to place our logs in any fire that we choose. But whatever fire we put those logs into, that is the fire that we keep alight. If we choose to withdraw our logs and not use them on a fire, that fire will ultimately turn to embers and it will fizzle out. So thinking about the fire as being situations and circumstances, we can choose which we keep alight and which we withdraw our energy from. And it's a great way of thinking about where we're placing our time, our effort, our energy and our attention. Now, if we're placing our time, effort, energy and attention into how stuck we are, or into how we don't know what to do, or into procrastination, or into messing about on social media, or whatever it might be, we're keeping that alight, okay? If we place our energy into reading more, learning more, making more progress, then that will be the fire that stays alight. Out there in the world, there is, a absolutely overwhelming amount of information. I know that there's an overwhelming amount of information. And what I'm not saying is that you start to dive into every single piece of information that you can find out there in the world, because what will happen is that you're just going to serve to keep yourself stuck, because you're going to get contradictory advice. You're going to get all of these ideas. You're going to have no time to implement them. You're going to end up even more stuck probably than you were before. So thinking about placing your time, effort, energy and attention into stuff that will help you to build your business, that will allow you to focus in a little bit more and give you a little bit more direction, and kind of to some degree pop on a little bit of blinkers, because like we say, the online space can be full of fear of missing out, a good old heap of FOMO in there. It can be full of sensationalized headlines and unfulfilling promises, unfulfilling in that they don't actually come to life in any way, shape or form. The one investment that is the truly biggest investment that you can give to your business is your time, because that is the only thing that you can't get back. You can get back more energy. You can have more energy tomorrow, that's fine. You can have more attention tomorrow, that's fine. But you're not going to get that time back that you invest in your business. So every moment that you're investing in your business, that's a moment that we can't replace. We can't bring that time back. We have tomorrow, absolutely, but that stuff's gone. So it is really important that we choose where to create that investment of time in the best possible way for ourselves and for our business. I always look at any investment and any decision that I make based upon what is the cost to me energetically. So what's it going to cost me in terms of the amount of energy that I am going to expend on whatever it is. So whether it's a project, whether it's an investment, whatever it is. What's it going to cost me in terms of energy? What is it going to cost me in terms of marketing bandwidth? So if I'm going to be talking about something specific, what's it going to cost me in terms of the messaging that I'm going to put out there to my crowd? Is it moving me towards where I want to go? Is it moving me closer to where I want to be with my business, with the way I serve my audience? Or is it taking me backwards? Or is it a distracting detour? What is it? What is it going to cost me in terms of time? And what is it going to cost me in terms of financial investment? And they're great things to keep your eye on as you make any decisions about investment in your business. The one thing that you do need to know is that investment in your business is crucial. It is so important that you are working on your business as well as in your business. It is so important that you are a student of your business, your audience, yourself, and the evolution that you want to take this journey on. It is an evolution. You do swift and change and pivot and move forwards, and there is an awful lot that you, particularly at the beginning, need to get your head around. There's an awful lot that you feel like you need to learn, and you feel like there is absolutely so much to learn that you don't even know where to start. The one thing that I do want to assure you is that, as part of the Rockstar community, you're never, ever, ever behind. You never, ever are in a place where so much less than them people and they're going to laugh at you. You're never in a place where you haven't got a proper business but everybody else has. You're never in a place where you will be judged or you will be ridiculed or whatever it might be. The Rockstar community is very, very inclusive, and it goes from people who are turning over six figures to people who are starting out. And I want you to know that if you want to be part of something that is truly supportive of and evolutionary, then that is a great place for you to be. And if you want to get started on making an investment in self and your business, then the Rock and Soul program is absolutely a fantastic place to be as well. So everything that I've talked about in here and all of the resources to get your hands on, I've popped the link into the description underneath this video so that you can get your teeth into it and make sure that you can get the free resource for Revive Your Money Moxie. You can make sure that you are part of the Rockstar community on other platforms, and that you can start to think about creating investments within your business, however they look right now. And the one thing I want to leave you with is never, ever, ever be pushed by anybody into making any financial investment because they're guilting you into it, or they've got a script to close the sale, or they're going to belittle you for needing to take time to go and think about it. Never, ever, ever let that happen. And, you know, always stay strong on that one, because that is super, super, super important, that, you know, you never make a purchase that you immediately regret. So, on that note, please do invest in self and business, however that looks for you right now, and I will speak to you in the next video. Bye!